just when you thought tensions on the Korean peninsula couldn't get any more dramatic. North Korea's military pulled a move so shocking it left the world speechless. This latest blunder isn't just a major misstep, it could shift the balance of power in the region and push the situation dangerously close to the edge. So, what makes this act truly insane? Let's uncover the jaw-dropping truth behind this video. A catastrophic friendly fire incident has exposed serious operational flaws in North Korea's military deployment alongside Russian forces. In a shocking development, North Korean troops mistakenly opened fire on Chechen Akhmat Spetsnaz battalion vehicles, resulting in 8 Chechen personnel casualties. The incident occurred in the Kursk region when North Korean forces misidentified their allies, subsequently attacking a Chechen convoy and destroying several vehicles. This tragic event particularly highlighted the dangers of poor coordination between Allied forces operating in unfamiliar territory. The tactical failures observed in the collaboration between Russian and North Korean forces can be traced back to a significant communication breakdown caused by a language barrier. Military analysts have highlighted several factors contributing to this issue, which have severely hampered the effectiveness of joint operations. A major challenge lies in the insufficient number of translators assigned to facilitate communication. With only one translator available for every 30 North Korean troops, the ability to convey essential information accurately and efficiently has been greatly compromised. This shortage creates delays, misinterpretations, and misunderstandings that undermine coordination on the ground. Additionally, the language training provided to North Korean personnel has proven to be inadequate. Their preparation consists of a basic understanding of approximately 100 key military terms, which is far from sufficient to navigate the complexities of real-time military operations. This limited vocabulary makes it difficult for soldiers to grasp nuanced commands or adapt to dynamic battlefield situations. Furthermore, the difficulty North Korean personnel face in learning the Russian language exacerbates the problem. The linguistic differences between the two languages present a steep learning curve, leaving many troops unable to effectively communicate beyond rudimentary phrases. This lack of proficiency hinders their ability to establish rapport with their Russian counterparts, further weakening the cohesion necessary for successful joint maneuvers. Altogether, these communication challenges have created a substantial obstacle to the operational effectiveness of Russian and North Korean forces, highlighting the critical need for improved language training and resource allocation to address these deficiencies. The challenges of integrating Russian and North Korean forces extend well beyond fundamental communication issues, revealing deeper problems in combat coordination. Russian soldiers, as indicated in intercepted communications, have voiced considerable frustration with their North Korean counterparts, often referring to them dismissively as the Chinese. This disparaging remark underscores a lack of mutual respect and cohesion, further straining their collaboration on the battlefield. The absence of effective coordination has led to critical operational failures. Russian forces have struggled to provide timely and precise armor support, leaving North Korean troops vulnerable during key engagements. Similarly, disruptions in fire support have severely hampered the effectiveness of North Korean attacks, diminishing their overall impact. Military experts emphasize that combat operations require constant and specific communications to be successful, not just some senior officer pointing in a direction and telling the North Koreans to attack there. The Institute for the Study of War indicates these integration problems will continue to cause friction in Russian military operations in the Kursk region. The situation has become so concerning that Russian authorities have implemented a special counterintelligence regime, requiring FSB clearance for Russian personnel to enter areas where North Korean units are stationed. This additional layer of security measures has subsequently created more operational complexities in an already challenging environment. Initially, Ukrainian military intelligence reported unprecedented casualties among North Korean forces in the Kursk region. The battlefield losses have surpassed all expectations, with South Korean military officials confirming more than 1,100 North Korean soldiers killed or wounded since their deployment. The intensity of combat operations resulted in staggering casualties. Ukrainian forces inflicted heavy losses near Novoivanovka, while at least 30 North Korean troops were killed or wounded during operations near the villages of Plekovo, Vorozhba, and Martinovka. Meanwhile, 3 North Korean servicemen went missing around another Kursk village. Ukrainian drone warfare has inflicted devastating losses on North Korean forces, demonstrating its lethality and precision. During a single field advance, between 40 and 50 North Korean soldiers were eliminated by drone strikes, marking a significant blow to their operational strength. In another instance, Special Operations Forces deployed drones to deadly effect, resulting in the deaths of 12 soldiers and injuries to 20 others. Night operations utilizing thermal-guided drones have also caused multiple casualties, further emphasizing the effectiveness of Ukraine's drone capabilities in targeting and disrupting enemy forces. North Korean troops have displayed a significant inability to effectively counter modern drone threats, revealing critical gaps in their tactical understanding. Rather than employing appropriate evasive measures, soldiers responded ineffectively by firing indiscriminately at drones with little to no impact. Despite the clear presence of drones, they continued advancing across open fields, exposing themselves to further attacks. Additionally, they failed to make use of proper cover and concealment, leaving them vulnerable and unable to mitigate the threat posed by these advanced aerial systems. The situation has become increasingly dire as North Korean forces struggle to adapt. White House spokesperson John Kirby noted that Russian and North Korean military leaders are treating these troops as expendable, ordering them on hopeless assaults against Ukrainian defenses. Nevertheless, the Joint Chiefs of Staff reported that Pyongyang is preparing for troop rotation and additional deployments, despite these significant losses. Consequently, Ukrainian forces have maintained tactical superiority through advanced drone warfare. Thermal sensors have proven particularly effective, as most North Korean soldiers lack appropriate white camouflage for winter operations. The Pentagon has confirmed that North Korean troops, primarily used in infantry roles, began experiencing these losses within their first week of combat operations. The fundamental military shortcomings of North Korean forces have become glaringly apparent on the Ukrainian battlefield. These elite Storm Corps troops, supposedly among North Korea's finest soldiers, have demonstrated critical gaps in their military capabilities that extend far beyond simple tactical errors. North Korea's military has not engaged in active combat operations since the Korean War ended in 1953. Additionally, these soldiers, primarily in their teens or early 20s, face the daunting challenge of fighting on unfamiliar territory with weapons and uniforms from a foreign nation. Their combat inexperience has become evident as they struggle to adapt to the mechanized warfare of the 21st century. The training methodology of the North Korean military exhibits critical shortcomings that hinder its effectiveness on the battlefield. Their training is heavily oriented toward operations in mountainous terrain, which contrasts sharply with the flat and open landscapes of Ukraine, creating a mismatch in tactical preparedness. Furthermore, there is a strong emphasis on ideological indoctrination, often at the expense of practical combat skills essential for modern warfare. The troops also lack sufficient exposure to advanced combat simulations, leaving them unprepared for the complexities of contemporary conflicts. Perhaps most notably, their training offers inadequate preparation for countering drone warfare, a glaring vulnerability in the face of technologically sophisticated adversaries. The equipment situation for North Korean troops has been fraught with challenges, further complicating their effectiveness in the field. Arriving in Russia without their gear, the soldiers were supplied with standard infantry weapons, but numerous issues quickly became apparent. They were provided with AK-12 rifles, yet demonstrated limited familiarity with the weapon, hindering their ability to use it effectively. The 60mm mortars issued to them revealed poor handling skills, compromising their operational utility. Phoenix anti-tank missiles were also part of the arsenal, but inadequate training left the troops unable to maximize their potential. Additionally, the use of handheld anti-tank launchers led to frequent operational confusion, highlighting a lack of preparedness and familiarity with modern weaponry. Undoubtedly, the most concerning aspect remains their inability to counter modern threats. These soldiers have demonstrated poor adaptation to drone warfare, altogether failing to implement effective countermeasures. Similarly, their crash course in Russian military terminology, limited to basic phrases like open fire and in position, has created significant operational challenges. The situation is further complicated by the fact that North Korean forces maintain a separate command system from Russian forces. This arrangement, coupled with the absence of dedicated interpreters within North Korean units, has created a fractured command structure that undermines battlefield effectiveness. These deficiencies stem from decades of isolation and outdated military doctrine. Although North Korea maintains the world's fourth-largest military with 1.3 million active duty soldiers, their conventional weapons systems have remained largely unchanged since the end of the Cold War. Recent combat operations in Ukraine's Kursk region have exposed serious operational failures among North Korean forces fighting alongside Russian troops. The first thing to remember: these forces attempted multiple assaults to recapture strategic positions with catastrophic results. The North Korean 11th Army Corps launched a series of unsuccessful attacks to recapture the village of Plekhov, suffering approximately 200 troops killed or wounded in the process. Their offensive tactics proved particularly ineffective as they advanced across open snowy fields without adequate artillery or air support. As a result, Ukrainian forces successfully repelled 3 costly infantry attacks, even as the combined Russian-North Korean force managed to briefly occupy the village's eastern edge. North Korean troops have shown strikingly ineffective responses to modern drone threats, highlighting a severe mismatch between their tactics and the demands of contemporary warfare. Their counter-drone efforts included attempting to SWAT drones using improvised tools, firing indiscriminately at aerial threats with little success, and employing outdated bait soldier tactics. Recovered documents from fallen soldiers detail these primitive strategies, including deploying one soldier as bait to attract drones, while others tried to shoot them down. This approach proved catastrophic, leading to significant casualties and numerous friendly fire incidents, further underscoring their lack of preparedness for modern combat scenarios. In these challenging conditions, North Korean forces exhibited significant shortcomings in carrying out organized withdrawals, resulting in heavy losses. In Plekhovo, over 30 soldiers were killed due to retreat routes being exposed, leaving them vulnerable to enemy attacks. In Vorobsa, more than 20 troops were lost as a result of uncoordinated withdrawal efforts, which created chaos and left them defenseless. In Martinovka, another 25 soldiers fell victim to enemy forces equipped with thermal sensors, which detected their movements during retreat. The situation became increasingly dire as Ukrainian forces utilized thermal imaging to track retreating troops across snow-covered terrain. The North Korean soldiers, lacking appropriate winter camouflage, were easily identified and targeted. In response to these losses, North Korean units hastily established additional observation posts to detect incoming drones, yet these measures proved largely ineffective. The Defense Intelligence of Ukraine reported that Russian forces eventually had to assign dedicated drone units to provide tank and artillery support for North Korean troops during assaults. Before this intervention, footage showed North Korean forces conducting operations without any Russian combat support, highlighting the severe coordination problems between Allied forces. Currently, Moscow employs extreme measures to conceal mounting North Korean casualties in Ukraine, revealing a complex web of deception and propaganda. The Russian military's efforts to hide their foreign allies' losses have intensified as battlefield setbacks continue to mount. Russian forces have resorted to disturbing tactics to hide North Korean casualties. Most notably, they burn the faces of deceased North Korean soldiers to prevent identification. The South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff reported approximately 1,100 North Korean troops have been killed or wounded since entering combat. The Kremlin continues to vigorously deny allegations of North Korean military involvement, framing such reports as baseless propaganda. Russian presidential spokesperson Dmitry Peskov dismissed the claims as an information canard. However, this narrative was undermined by President Vladimir Putin's eventual admission when confronted with satellite imagery evidence. While official rhetoric includes accusations of fake news and information warfare, these statements are at odds with documented casualties, verified battlefield presence, and clear satellite imagery confirming North Korean troop deployment. To maintain control over the narrative, the Russian military has enforced stringent measures to suppress information regarding North Korean forces. These efforts include isolating distressed family members of deployed troops, restricting media access to areas where North Korean units are active, managing casualty reports to minimize public awareness, and limiting communication between military units to contain sensitive details. The Russian embassy has certainly attempted to frame the cooperation as legal, with Ambassador Georgy Zinoviev claiming all activities comply with international law. Nevertheless, South Korea's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has declared that using North Korean troops violates United Nations precedent. The information control extends beyond battlefield operations. Russian authorities have established specialized counterintelligence units to monitor areas where North Korean forces operate. These units require FSB clearance for Russian personnel to access zones with North Korean troops, creating an additional layer of secrecy around their deployment and casualties. The scale of concealment becomes more apparent as Ukrainian intelligence reports surface. Notably, the Russian military attempts to prevent the capture of North Korean soldiers alive, with evidence suggesting their forces may execute wounded or surrendering North Korean troops. This extreme measure underscores Moscow's determination to maintain absolute control over information regarding their North Korean allies' involvement in the conflict. Ukrainian forces demonstrate remarkable superiority in combat operations against North Korean mercenaries through advanced drone warfare and innovative tactics. The Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Systems Battalion of Ukraine's 36th Separate Marine Brigade has achieved significant success in neutralizing enemy forces. Ukrainian drone operators have demonstrated exceptional effectiveness, significantly surpassing their adversaries, utilizing advanced thermal imaging technology. Their operations have proven particularly devastating. Night operations boast a 90% success rate, resulting in numerous enemy casualties. Daytime strikes have an 85% success rate, enabling Ukrainian forces to secure critical strategic positions. Counter-assault missions have achieved a 75% success rate, effectively halting enemy advances and reinforcing Ukraine's dominance in drone warfare. Ukrainian forces currently hold several strategic advantages over North Korean troops. Their superior understanding of drone warfare tactics, coupled with advanced thermal imaging capabilities for night missions, has given them a decisive edge. Additionally, Ukraine's effective electronic warfare systems and comprehensive battlefield intelligence network further enhance its operational superiority. Recent operations underscore this technological advantage, with Ukrainian forces intercepting 59 missiles and 54 drones, while successfully jamming 52 additional drones. These achievements have been instrumental in maintaining dominance on the battlefield. In response to evolving threats, the Ukrainian military has developed innovative strategies to counter North Korean forces. Their tactical advancements include the integration of psychological warfare, where drones are deployed to deliver targeted propaganda messages, broadcast audio communications, and distribute informational leaflets. The Center for Strategic Communications has implemented a comprehensive campaign to diminish Russian military capabilities. This approach extends beyond conventional warfare, incorporating advanced electronic warfare systems that have successfully jammed numerous enemy drones. Military experts note that this tactical superiority stems from Ukraine's extensive combat experience and technological adaptation. The deputy commander of the Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Systems Battalion, known as Wolf, emphasizes that North Korean troops remain vulnerable targets, largely because they have not yet grasped the complexities of modern drone warfare. The effectiveness of Ukrainian operations becomes apparent through their successful strikes on strategic targets. For instance, Ukrainian forces conducted precision strikes on a propellant production facility in Russia's southern Rostov region, demonstrating their ability to execute complex military operations. These achievements highlight the growing disparity between Ukrainian combat capabilities and North Korean military preparedness. The situation in Kursk Oblast, notwithstanding weather-related challenges, showcases Ukrainian forces' ability to maintain tactical superiority through innovative combat approaches. The psychological impact of these operations extends beyond immediate battlefield effects. Ban Kil-ju, a senior research professor at Korea University's Ilmin International Relations Institute, suggests that psychological warfare could significantly weaken military cohesion between Russian and North Korean forces. Fundamentally, the psychological state of North Korean mercenaries in Ukraine has deteriorated rapidly, with Ukrainian intelligence reporting widespread demoralization and incidents of heavy drinking on New Year's Eve. The impact of combat operations on troop morale has proven far more severe than initially anticipated by Russian military planners. The psychological strain on North Korean soldiers is driven by several contributing factors. The Russian military subjects these troops to continuous propaganda, emphasizing the great importance of their involvement in the war. South Korean intelligence has revealed that many of these soldiers come from impoverished backgrounds, with the promise of a monthly payment of $2,000, acting as a key motivator for their participation. However, the psychological toll of their situation has become increasingly evident in various ways. Alcohol consumption has surged within the units as soldiers seek ways to cope with stress. There has also been a noticeable rise in instances of combat refusal. As troops grow hesitant to engage, anxiety levels have escalated during drone attacks, leaving soldiers feeling vulnerable and exposed. Additionally, unit discipline has been deteriorating, further eroding their effectiveness and cohesion in combat. Russian military personnel express growing frustration with their North Korean counterparts. Intercepted communications reveal Russian soldiers referring dismissively to the K Battalion, with one soldier stating he doesn't know what to do with them. The current situation has created a multifaceted dynamic where several critical issues have significantly impacted operations. The language barrier has led to limited tactical coordination, making it difficult for the forces to collaborate effectively on the battlefield. Cultural differences have strained relations between units, further complicating their ability to work together seamlessly. Training gaps have resulted in reduced combat effectiveness, leaving the troops ill-prepared to handle modern warfare challenges. Additionally, a fractured command structure has weakened the leadership chain, undermining the ability to execute coherent and efficient operations. These interconnected challenges have hindered the overall success of the military efforts. The breakdown in unit cohesion has reached critical levels, with Ukrainian forces reporting that 4 North Korean brigades became incapacitated within just 10 days of deployment. Communication difficulties between Russian and North Korean soldiers complicate command and control, especially if Russia attempts to integrate the North Koreans into lower echelons. The average Russian soldier's sentiment reflects deep skepticism, questioning what are they doing here, while expressing frustration at having to hold their hand during operations. The ongoing friction between the forces has resulted in several negative consequences. Battlefield coordination has been compromised, leading to disorganized responses to emerging threats. Delays in responding to these threats have further hindered operational efficiency, while joint operations have proven ineffective due to the lack of synchronization between units. Additionally, the lack of coordination has led to an increase in friendly fire incidents, further exacerbating the challenges faced on the battlefield. The Ukrainian military has capitalized on these morale issues through psychological warfare. Their I Want to Live project specifically targets North Korean troops with surrender appeals, promising shelter, food, and warmth to those who defect. The campaign includes leaflets in Korean with detailed surrender instructions, such as lying face down on the ground, holding up white sheets or leaflets, and dropping weapons before surrender. Henceforth, the situation has become increasingly complex as North Korean authorities attempt to boost troop morale by promising fast-track induction into the Workers' Party membership, a highly coveted status symbol in North Korean society. Ultimately, even if troops suffer heavy casualties, Kim Jong-un's totalitarian control makes it impossible for families to complain, with defectors noting that North Korea will take the casualties for granted. The White House has confirmed the devastating impact on troop morale, reporting more than 1,000 North Korean soldiers were killed or injured in the past week alone. These losses have created a ripple effect throughout the deployed units, leading to what military analysts describe as a complete breakdown in combat effectiveness and unit cohesion. Serious questions emerge regarding the combat readiness of North Korean mercenaries as military analysts examine their performance in Ukraine. The Pentagon confirms approximately 11,000 to 12,000 North Korean troops are currently stationed in Russia's Kursk Oblast, raising fundamental concerns about their preparedness for modern warfare. The training deficiencies of North Korean forces stem from decades of isolation. Their military has not engaged in major conflicts since 1953, resulting in significant gaps in modern combat preparation. A former North Korean artillery officer explains that these troops are totally not ready for the current conflict. The limitations in training are considerable. North Korean troops have only acquired basic battlefield Russian language skills, limited to simple phrases such as stop and don't shoot. This minimal language proficiency severely hampers effective communication during operations. Additionally, there has been little exposure to modern drone warfare tactics, leaving the troops ill-prepared for contemporary threats. Their training has also been outdated, focused primarily on mountainous terrain, which does not align with the flat battlefields they encounter in Ukraine. Furthermore, due to resource constraints, live-fire exercises have been limited, depriving soldiers of crucial hands-on experience. North Korean forces are facing significant technological disadvantages that have greatly affected their performance on the battlefield. Military analysts have identified several critical challenges related to their equipment. Combat vehicles are severely hampered by a lack of fuel and insufficient maintenance capabilities, limiting their operational range and effectiveness. Many of their air assets remain grounded due to fuel shortages, preventing them from providing crucial air support. The infantry gear issued to soldiers is basic and lacks the advanced features needed for modern combat, reducing its effectiveness in various scenarios. Furthermore, their communication systems rely on outdated technology, which has hindered coordination between units and compromised operational efficiency. Straight away after deployment, Russian forces provided North Korean troops with standard issue equipment, fundamentally changing their familiar operational parameters. This equipment includes 60mm mortars, AK-12 rifle, machine guns, and anti-tank guided missiles. The operational readiness of North Korean forces has raised significant concerns among military experts, who have identified several substantial gaps in their preparedness. One of the primary issues is in command and control, with notable difficulties in interoperability with Russian forces. The integration of North Korean troops within the Russian command structure has proven challenging, further exacerbated by communication barriers that affect tactical coordination. In terms of combat experience, North Korean soldiers have not participated in live combat for decades, which has left them with limited exposure to modern warfare tactics. Additionally, they have received insufficient training in countering drone threats, leaving them vulnerable to this advanced form of warfare. These deficiencies undermine the overall effectiveness of North Korean forces in joint operations. Accordingly, the Defense Intelligence Agency assessment reveals that North Korea understands that the character of war has changed since the 1950s and sees its military as largely unprepared to engage in modern warfare. This acknowledgement underscores the fundamental challenges facing their forces in Ukraine. The situation becomes more complex as these troops attempt to integrate into Russian military operations. Their deployment was rushed, with minimal preparation time. Intelligence reports indicate that North Korean Special Forces missed regular training during the pandemic, rotating instead through border guard duties. Ultimately, the Combat Readiness Assessment reveals concerning statistics about North Korea's military infrastructure. Their conventional forces operate with aging equipment and technology, despite maintaining the world's fourth-largest military with nearly 3 million active personnel. The U.S. State Department estimates their annual military spending averaged $4 billion from 2009 to 2019, fundamentally limiting its ability to modernize and maintain combat readiness. These preparedness issues manifest in practical combat situations. Reports indicate that North Korean troops cannot effectively master modern equipment, including drones and high-tech systems, in the limited training time available. Their unfamiliarity with foreign soil operations compounds these challenges, making them particularly vulnerable to Ukrainian countermeasures. Therefore, military analysts project significant operational challenges ahead. The troops' deployment appears driven more by political considerations than military readiness. With approximately 500 officers and a small number of generals overseeing operations, the command structure struggles to adapt to modern warfare requirements. The deployment of North Korean forces with Russia highlights the dangers of unprepared troops in modern warfare. Over 1,100 casualties and struggles against Ukrainian drone tactics expose critical gaps in training and technology. Russia's attempts to cover up the losses reflect the sensitive nature of the partnership. This serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of modern combat readiness. What do you think? Can any military succeed without the right training and technology? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching.